Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly gripping mythological thriller derived straight from the ancient texts of the Mahabharata. It's a narrative that flawlessly blends high-stakes drama with some deeply complex philosophical and legal questions. We're going to explore a story that centers on a terrifying home invasion, a highly technical legal dispute, and an impossible moral choice placed squarely on the shoulders of a deity.
So let's just dive right into it. What happens when the god of fire is forced to choose between a lie and a curse? This is the central question anchoring our entire explainer today. Imagine being a divine entity, the literal embodiment of truth, witnessing everything in the universe, but finding yourself entirely paralyzed. If you tell the truth, you face the devastating, wrathful curse of an incredibly powerful mortal sage. But if you lie, will you violate your very nature and the entire cosmic order? It's the ultimate moral catch-22, and it's exactly the impossible situation the god of fire finds himself in.
Section 1. The Storytellers, an ancient oral tradition.
Before we get to the actual action, we have to look at the roots of the source text to understand how we got here. This whole story is actually framed as a conversation. We hear the quote, "Recount thou that history, we shall attentively listen to thee." That's the sage Saunaka asking a storyteller named Sauti to recount the Puranas and the specific history of the first generations of wise men. Sauti confirms he acquired all this knowledge passed down from high-souled brahmanas. So it's a classic nested narrative, a story within a story, which was the primary way these ancient, highly complex histories and laws were preserved and passed down through generations.
Section 2. The lineage of Bhrigu.
Let's look at the specific family at the center of our drama. We're tracing a direct line here. Step 1 is the self-existing creator, Brahma, who is actually produced from fire. Then we move to Step 2, Bhrigu. Step 3, Chyavana. Step 4, Pramati. Step 5, Ruru. And finally, Step 6, Saunaka. Sauti notes that the great Saint Bhrigu was produced by Brahma from the fire at a cosmic sacrifice. Notice how fire is already playing an absolutely crucial foundational role here. Now, this sixth-generation lineage is described in the text as being exceedingly virtuous, devoted to asceticism, and, this is key, highly proficient in law. They are the gold standard for truth, which honestly makes the chaotic event that is about to happen to them so deeply ironic.
Section 3. The Raksasa's ambush.
Okay, before we get to the ambush itself, we really need to clear up a very important detail that can easily trip you up in the source material. We actually have two entirely different characters sharing the exact same name, Puloma. On one hand, Puloma is the deeply beloved, virtuous, and currently pregnant wife of the sage Bhrigu. But on the other hand, Puloma is also the name of a terrifying Rakshasa, a demon-like being who is driven by intense lust and a really deep-seated desire for vengeance. You'll definitely want to keep this distinction clear in your mind as the chaos unfolds.
So here's how it all escalates. The sage Bhrigu leaves his home to perform his daily ablutions, his ritual washings. The very moment he's gone, leaving his pregnant wife alone, the Rakshasa Puloma enters the abode. Now, the wife, who is irreproachable in her virtue and strictly following the ancient rules of hospitality, innocently entertains this guest by offering him roots and fruits of the forest. But the Rakshasa, upon seeing her beauty, just burns with desire. He loses his senses entirely. Right then and there, he resolves to carry her away by force, declaring to himself, "My design is accomplished."
Section 4. Agni's impossible dilemma. But see, this isn't just some random act of violence. There's a deep, festering grievance driving the Rakshasa. The legal framework beneath this assault is fascinating. The Rakshasa isn't just some mindless monster. He actually believes he has been legally and morally robbed. According to the text, the Raksasa's claim is that the beautiful Puloma was first betrothed and chosen by him. It was his right. However, Bhrigu's claim is that the father subsequently changed his mind and bestowed her upon him using due official Vedic rites. The Rakshasa explicitly states that this wound rankled deep in his mind. So we literally have a clash of two valid claims, a prior verbal betrothal versus a subsequent officially officiated marriage ceremony. To settle this dispute before he actually kidnaps her, the Rakshasa turns to the only witness available in the hermitage, the sacrificial fire burning brightly right there in the apartment. He corners Agni, the flaming god of fire himself. The Rakshasa fiercely interrogates the god, declaring, "Thou art the mouth of gods, therefore thou art bound to answer my question." He demands that Agni validate his claim. He's basically saying, "Tell me truly if this woman is Bhrigu's wife, because if she is mine by first choice, I'm going to tear her away from this hermitage right in front of you."
Whose wife is this woman rightfully? Seriously, I want you to pause and think about this for a second. If you were the judge in this ancient court of law, whose side are you taking? Does a father's first promise and betrothal hold the ultimate binding power? Or does the subsequent performance of official religious rites completely supersede that initial promise? It's an absolutely fascinating question of contract law wrapped right in the middle of ancient mythology.
And this brings us back to the terrible burden placed on Agni. Remember, Agni is the witness to all creatures' merits and demerits. He resides within everyone. He knows the absolute truth. But the text tells us the seven-flamed god became exceedingly distressed. Why? Well, he's terrified of telling a falsehood. It goes against the very fabric of his divine being. But he is equally terrified of the sage Bhrigu's curse. If he tells the truth and legally hands Bhrigu's pregnant wife over to a monster, the highly powerful, law-proficient sage Bhrigu will undoubtedly curse him into oblivion. He is completely trapped.
Section 5. The Sacred Verdict. So, what does the god of fire do? How does he thread this impossible needle? The text actually notes that Agni's words came out slowly. You can almost feel the hesitation and the fear. But when he finally speaks, he delivers Agni's legal ruling. It is a highly technical, airtight verdict. He acknowledges the Rakshas's claim, saying, yes, she was indeed first chosen by you. However, she was not taken by you with holy rites and invocations. The father bestowed her to Bhrigu as a gift, and she was duly made his wife with Vedic rites, directly in my presence. Therefore, the official Vedic rites in the presence of fire heavily outweigh a prior betrothal without holy invocations. Legally speaking, she belongs to Bhrigu.
Agni concludes his terrifying ordeal with this incredibly profound statement: falsehood is never respected in this world. Despite his intense fear of Bhrigu's potential wrath, and despite having a terrifying Rakshasa standing right in front of him ready to commit violence, Agni refuses to compromise the truth. He states clearly, I dare not speak of falsehood. He upholds the law of the rites, fully aware of the absolute chaos that is about to unleash on the hermitage.
When ancient legal rights clash with broken promises, who truly owns the right to justice? We really see how the source material uses this extreme scenario, a god trapped between a demon and a sage, to explore very real human concepts. Things like the weight of a promise, the structural necessity of official rites, and the heavy, sometimes dangerous burden of telling the objective truth. When the dust finally settles, Agni chose the sanctity of the law over his own safety. But it makes you wonder, in the messy reality of broken promises and strict technicalities, does the truth always guarantee a just outcome? Think on that, and we'll catch you in the next explainer.